This is a More Than Just Podcast production.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 23 of the More Than Just Code podcast. My name is Tim Mitra.
No. That's a different podcast.
What?
You just did the More Than Just Code intro, not the
Did
podcast.
I say More Than Just Code?
Yeah, it's also season 6, episode 23 is how this one goes.
All right.
Welcome to Spotcast.
Okay, one more time. Welcome to Spotcast, season 6, episode 23. That's correct?
Yes.
My name is Tim Mitra. I am in Toronto, Ontario, and I'm joined once again by Jonathan Kuline in Mississauga, Ontario.
Hello there, kids.
And also joined by Jaime Lopez Jr. in Seattle, Washington.
How's it going?
So what you guys missed was before the show, we were stuck in one of those Star Trek time loop things where, we kept repeating episode 21 or 22 over and over again, and we got totally lost. And
ironically, Frasier will also show up in this episode, so there you go.
That's true. Frasier? Oh, was he in that episode too?
Yeah, he's the captain of the ship that shows up. Yeah.
Yeah, with what's her name?
Tasha.
No. Yeah, my favorite Star Trek episode, Twisty One, is the one where the Next Generation are going forward and they blow up, and then they go back again, and then they go forward and they blow up, and then I don't know how Data manages to remember something or something like that, and they eventually figure out they're actually stuck in a loop.
Yeah, it's not the same one. It's the one where he sees the number of pips and realizes it's the right idea comes from Riker, the
number 3.
He sends himself the number 3, and he realizes the 3 is a reference to Riker's idea to do what he said and not what somebody else said, and yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. But Frasier's not in that one, or Kelsey Grammer, right?
Oh, I believe it was the specific thing that Riker suggested was decompressing the main shuttle bay.
Yep.
Okay, because if only we had a shuttle bay, we could decompress, right? If only.
Stick your hands out the window and open up a can of Coke.
All right. Well, speaking of time loops, I was talking last week about the fact that Solar Opposites, I started watching season 4, and I was a little confused because at the time I wrote the note, there were only 4 episodes, but apparently there are 5 lights.
There are 5.
There are 5 episodes of Solar Opposites. I think what happened was I must have missed the initial drop because maybe they did 2 at a time or something. Because when I started watching it a couple of weeks ago, there was all 4 of them were out, and then this week the 5th one came out. So I guess they're releasing them 1 at a time, which is the way I prefer it myself. And so and further follow up on that section of the show last week. Dan Stevens is the new voice of Corvo. And I'm not sure if I know him from other things, but and Jessie is the name of the, I'm doing air quotes, female character on the show, or the female. They're clones or something. What do they call them in the very beginning, Jonathan?
Replicants, I think.
Replicants? I think they're like offsprings of wherever, and then they have a pupa as well.
Yeah.
So because I think Corvo and his partner are a pair, and then they've got these 2 other sort of offspring, as it were.
Would you like to hear some of Dan Stevens' IMDb? I happen to have it here. He is somebody that we know. He was on Downton Abbey. He was in Beauty and the Beast, the live-action version that Disney did a few years ago. He was the star of Legion.
Was he the Beast? Was he the Beast, or was he?
I believe he was the Beast. He was the Beast. And he was also, he was the star of Legion, the weird FXX show that was on a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's been around. He's been around. British fellow. What
character was he in Downton Abbey? Oh, Matthew Crawley. Yes, he was the son or whatever of the old lady. What's her name? That lady. And I started watching the Maggie Smith. Yeah, I started watching the Beauty and the Beast, but I didn't go back and finish it. I'm not sure who he was in that. Scrolling. Oh, he's also in Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Something or Other.
Gotta be careful of that Cabinet of Something or Other.
Central Park as well. Oh, he does voiceover stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And he was in a Christopher Plummer movie. There you go.
Oh, It all comes back to Christopher Plummer. There's also Call of the Wild, which I still haven't seen yet.
Yeah. And he's narrated over 30 audiobooks. Oh, how about that?
Oh, yes. He was the Beast in Beauty and the Beast.
All right. This guy passes muster. We can watch now.
Yes, of course. And we'll move on to the headlines now that we've wasted a ton of time, Jonathan.
Yeah, so we'll start with some Star Trek-y stuff, since this is a Star Trek-y podcast. So September 8th is going to be, once again, the annual Star Trek Day. We got a nice little announcement from Paramount about some of the stuff that's going to happen. I'm actually just a little bit surprised. Maybe they did this recording prior to the strike announcement stuff, but Jerry O'Connell is going to be hosting Star Trek Day programming on the 8th, where they're going to do a celebration of Star Trek in animation. Is, I believe, the anniversary of the original animated series, and it's coincidentally the day after the premiere of the first episode of the next season of Star Trek Lower Decks, so they're going to do that. They're also going to have a special screening of Strange New Worlds on CBS proper, so it's going to be on network television for the hope that people will find themselves leaning in and start watching. So they're going to air the first 2 episodes back to back at 8 p.m. on September the 8th on CBS. So that's always an interesting experiment to see if they can lure in a few more people. They also announced that they were doing special screenings of Lower Decks today. So they were showing it in specific places as a celebration screening. So it was 9 o'clock PT, so noon today, Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. But it was only in Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Denver, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Diego, St. Louis, Washington, D.C., Vancouver, Calgary, and London. Those are the only places they did this. So they basically excluded everywhere that really matters. So no Toronto, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, none of those. Yeah,
it could have been a demographic thing. They could have looked at the numbers and saw these were low.
Maybe these are the nerdiest
markets.
Cities in North America. Maybe we aren't giving them credit. I don't know, but anyway, that's where they had them. There was already some reviews trickling out from that. People saying that the first episode is I guess they aired the first episode. It's super funny. So we'll have a week more to stew on that one while we talk about some Star Wars today. And yeah, they're going to be doing this as they have. It's definitely scaled down from the past couple of years. If you'll recall, when they did the anniversary stuff in the past, they had, a lot of pomp and circumstance. They had, like red carpety kind of stuff, all kinds of fancy stuff. Given the actors and writers strike, I guess they've scaled this down significantly. As I say, I'm surprised that Jerry O'Connell is doing this, given the fact that it's an actor who is promoting a product, which seems like something they're not really doing right now. But again, it's possible he recorded this months and months ago. So who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, he's also a bit part technically on. He's not really like he shows up in a lot of shows, but
yeah, but it's. I mean, really, the point of the matter is that most actors won't break the strike lines to do a thing like this. So it's quite possible that they've had this in the can for quite a while, and they're just going to air it, right? It's no different than them airing Ahsoka right now. They're just not going to get people talking about it. They're not going to get Rosario Dawson out there because she doesn't have to, right?
Yeah, and Ahsoka doesn't talk much anyway, so...
Yeah, really. So, yeah, so, of course, they're going to be doing their regular programming. You can watch it by going to StarTrek.com, or you can watch it on YouTube, or you can watch it on Twitch or Facebook. You can watch it on Paramount Plus and Pluto TV and, lots of places. I guess the question is, will either of you plan to tune in to watch Star Trek Day events, or will you look for the highlights afterwards?
I don't know. I might be busy that day. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm not. So probably I'll watch some of it.
Something to do.
Yeah, I might try to remember to watch that stuff. Otherwise, I probably will get a recap somewhere on like YouTube or something.
Yeah. Or maybe on the next episode of Spotcast, or 2 episodes from now.
Yeah, who knows? I watch. I have watched it in previous years. Like I've had that and Star Wars Day. I kind of have them on in the background if I'm working from home and that kind of stuff, right? So,
yeah.
All right.
All right. Next up, some sad news and some sad news. So, another casualty of the ongoing labor dispute. We got news this week that Dune Part 2 is going to be bumped off the schedule. It was supposed to open on November 3rd in North America. Instead, it is now moving to March 15th, 2024. So that is disappointing news. It was very disappointing news for a couple of different publications that were already starting to roll out the front covers being like, oh, we're only 2 months away from watching Dune. Check out this article we wrote. Oh, never mind. So,
do we know why it was delayed? Because, I mean...
The reason most people are speculating is because actors and writers have refused to do any kind of media promoting a product for the studios that they did the work for until this dispute over the two kinds of strikes is over. So they're not going to do any kind of publicity. And if you put out this kind of movie and you don't have Timothée Chalamet and, Zendaya and Rebecca Ferguson and, all these famous faces out there on magazine covers and websites and, doing interview clips for social media and promoting it on their own channels, there's a lot of speculation that one of the main reasons why they delayed it is because if Zendaya doesn't publicize it, like she has a absolutely massive following. So does Timothée Chalamet. Their promotion on social media alone is worth millions of dollars in marketing. So they just think it's not worth putting out there if they can't get more people to go see it. And if the celebrities won't promote it, why bother? So...
Yeah. From my standpoint, I can definitely see how a lot of that media stuff is like it's essentially free for them, and they want to get the benefit. Like, you're going to be like, hey, we need all of the major cast members to make the rounds on Colbert, go on Jimmy, and then go on the other Jimmy, and you get to go chat glad hand a little bit, give something interesting for people to look forward to, show a clip of the movie, talk about it. Like, it's all part of the machine if you look at it negatively, but also sort of the pomp and circumstance around like the debut of a movie like this. So I can totally understand why they would, even if it's totally in the can, they don't have to do new shoots, they don't have to do post-production or anything. They just literally, we have to time it because this needs to be $1 billion movie. It can't be, oh, look, it made its money back. It needs to make some serious cash.
Yeah. Well, especially with everything else being canceled, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's part of the actor's contract to do that kind of stuff. So if the studio wants to get their money's worth, right?
Yeah, and this is a gold mine too, because on top of Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, who are incredibly popular in social media as well as other areas where people will tune in, this movie's also got Austin Butler, who was young and handsome and famous, Florence Pugh, who's young and handsome, young and beautiful and famous. It's you're right. Like, you're almost paying the actors for their profile as well. You're almost paying that. It's not a bonus. I think it's pretty calculated when they do the casting.
That's true. Yeah. It's also got Christopher Walken.
It's true. Christopher Walken. I don't know how big his social following is, but I hope it's huge.
Yeah, probably. Who knows?
The other bit of bad news we got this week was the sad passing of Arlene Sorkin. Arlene Sorkin was a famous actress from my childhood. She was on TV on I think it was Days of Our Lives. I'll have to double check, that's in here somewhere. But
yes, you're correct on that one.
Yeah, more importantly for us nerdy people, she was the original voice of Harley Quinn on Batman the Animated Series. She is the originator of the character and was the inspiration for the character. So she passed away this week at the age of 67. It was immediately met with lots of responses from people who worked with her and talked about how brilliant she was. Mark Hamill, lots of people were posting, James Gunn, she was somebody who was apparently, brilliant to work with and lovely. And, really sad to see. I mean, that's such an unmistakable, and obviously the role's passed to other people since then, but to have been the originator of that character is a pretty big deal. And, it's very sad to see her go.
Yeah. I saw Kaylee Cuoco was doing Harley Quinn recently.
Yeah, it's been a bunch of different actors that have done it on different products. So between video games and animated series and stuff like that. But yeah, ain't nothing like the real thing, right?
It's true.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of crazy, like how much she was and is Harley Quinn. Like the reason I knew the Days of Our Lives answer is because I had seen this article that said that, like, hey, she inspired Harley Quinn from her appearance on the Days of Our Lives show in some sort of weird dream sequence where she was dressed as a clown on rollerblades. And then, ends up getting to voice the character, the Harley Quinn character. People found links between Arlene and Harleen. So it's one of those ones where, like, not just iconic voice in the character, but it was, like, really the inspiration for the character and how the character is portrayed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she will be missed. A little bit more. So we finally got our season 7. Now that, as Tim mentioned, Solar Opposites is back on the air, we're going to get our first look at the all-new Rick and Morty. Season 7 is coming on October 15th. So if you're curious as to how that's going to be, I don't know. They didn't say in here anything, I think, about Dan Stevens or who's going to be the voice on there. So I'll be curious to see if that also. Yes,
they've not officially announced they've not officially announced a replacement for a while, and right now it says.
Yeah. So again, a little more mystery. Hopefully, although I was surprised. I was talking to my daughter a few weeks ago, and she said, "Ugh, Rick and Morty is so over. Nobody watches Rick and Morty." And I was like, "Well, us old people do? I don't know." But apparently, yes, young people have moved past Rick and Morty. Now it's passé. So I didn't get the memo, but apparently we're not the cool kids anymore.
Welcome to the club, my friend.
Yeah, it happens faster than you think it will, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now we have cookies. Don't worry.
Are they animal crackers or something? And
they got lots of fiber in them.
That's right. And the last thing I got here is a story came out this week that Kevin Smith, the filmmaker / podcaster / everything else, is auctioning off his entire personal collection of original comic book art. He has decided that he doesn't have the wall space, and he has just been sort of hoarding this stuff for years. Some of the stuff is related to the books that he wrote or co-created, and some of it is stuff that he collected over time. But he's decided that he wants to sell it so that he can create a scholarship fund at the Joe Kubert School for Comic Book Art. And so on September 27th, there is going to be a large auction selling a bunch of the work that he's got from books like Preacher, Hitman, The Demon, Batman, Green Arrow, Daredevil, Sandman, and some of the stuff in here. I've gone through and looked at it myself because I'm a comic art collector and a fan. And he's got the original painted covers for his Green Arrow books by Matt Wagner. He's got, a ton of pages from Preacher and Demon and Hitman and stuff that are, sort of the Vertigo dark side of DC kind of stuff. He's got original pages from the original Sandman series, which are pretty incredible. But the one piece in there that is just mind-blowing is he's got a Daredevil fighting Bullseye page from Frank Miller from the 1970s that is just like mind-blowing. They're estimating it'll sell between $20,000 and $40,000 US. I think that's low. I think it's going to sell for more than that, not only because of the page itself, but because of its provenance belonging to Kevin as well. So But yeah, this is we've got the link in here. You can actually go. You can register if you want to vote. If you want to bid and get in on it. There's lots of stuff in here. I suspect this is going to be a pretty intense auction, given again the quality of the pages and everything else. But it's a pretty once in a lifetime kind of deal to have somebody like him. Some of this stuff has never been available for sale ever. It's never been on the market, so it'll be interesting to see how much he ends up raising from this. But I'm guessing it will be a very surprising number when it's all said and done.
Interesting. Cool. And speaking of things that you're not going to get to see, yet, the Spiderwick Chronicles have been canceled by Disney even before they hit the street, as it were. So, yeah, the showrunner is saying that it will be on some TV at some point in the future, but not sure where. The author, Holly Black, was saying that it's going to be somewhere, but not on Disney+.
Yeah, so they produced it and developed it, and now they're basically burying it, and they're going to look to resell it to someone else to broadcast. So it won't be a Disney Plus show, even though they made it.
Yeah, it's weird. And we talked about that before because there was another Batgirl, I think.
Yeah, Batgirl, where they basically buried it. Although that one they killed. They weren't looking to resell it. They actually killed that one, right? They put it in a drawer, and that's it.
Was it Batwoman or Batgirl?
I think it was Batgirl was the title they were doing.
Yeah, that was my recollection as well. Yeah, if you wanted happier news and you wanted to know what happens when a pirate king loses his trusted steed, Our Flag Means Death Season 2 is coming out on October 5th.
I haven't watched Season 1 yet, though.
Oh, you haven't seen Season 1? Yeah, it's definitely worth a binge.
All right. What platform would it be on primarily?
It is on Max. It is an HBO original.
So.
Yeah, I believe it's on Crave up here in Canada.
Crave? Le Crave? Dans le Crave?
Dans le Crave.
Dans le Crave, okay. Merveilleux. And one more, honey.
Yeah, in this era of, remember that thing from a couple decades ago? Let's revive that. Or reboot it or whatever. In this case, I believe is a continuation of the Frasier character. So Kelsey Grammer's returning as the titular character, Frasier, on October 12th. This is going to be on Paramount Plus with kind of similar to what we just talked about with Strange New Worlds. 2 episodes will air on CBS as well. Remember, CBS All Access used to be the name of Paramount Plus before they brought in the Paramount Viacom stuff. Merged it all together. So 10 episode season, lot shorter than what you might have gotten used to if you're watching reruns of the 20 some odd 23ish probably some episodes. This isn't general daytime, nighttime, primetime television. This is a streaming era where you're going to get like somewhere between 6 to 13 episodes, and 10 is the number they have chosen here.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the 3 other main characters are not returning. Daphne, the love interest of Niles, is not returning. Niles, his brother, is not returning. And David Hyde Pierce, he doesn't want to do that role anymore. And of course, his father has passed away, right? The actor. Roz apparently is going to come back in an appearance, and so is Lilith. But yeah, it's weird because I was talking to Carol about this too, in that he was sort of a spin-off character from Cheers, right?
Mm-hmm,
so
he was.
Mm-hmm. Does it really matter that? It does matter that those people don't come back, because that show's been in syndication forever. I think everybody knows. If you haven't seen it, you've probably seen at least one episode of it. So it's interesting. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of a plot, but and just as a sort of a loose connection. What's her name? What's the name now? Oh, Arlene Sorkin was actually a character on Frasier at one point too.
Oh, that's funny.
Speaking of a deep portfolio. All right. Well, we're at the main part of the show where we talk about something Star Trek related. Wait a minute, strike that. We're going to talk about Star Wars Ahsoka Part 2, not Episode 2, Part 2.
No, part 3. That's my bad. That should be Part 3.
What?
I know. I threw you a curveball. My bad. Want to take that one again?
All right.
It's a bad week for numbers.
Part 33. Stop typing. We're both typing. Part 33. Okay. We're just going to go with it.
All right, go with it.
Just gonna go. So what's your elevator pitch for Part 33, Jonathan?
My elevator pitch. Just because you're not a Jedi doesn't mean you aren't good in a fight.
Yeah. I mean,
Mine's not that great. I wrote down saber rattling between Ahsoka and Sabine brings her closer to understanding each other and understanding the mystery of the hyperspace ring.
Hang on, I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge that Tim absolutely nailed the hyperspace ring on our episode last week. He said it looked like one of those things that they had in the prequel movies where they like locked their ships in there, and I was like, yeah, I guess. And nope, you nailed it. You got it absolutely right. So kudos.
Yeah. I think rather than my elevator pitch is rather than building hyperspace rings, maybe just learn how to aim a blaster.
Yeah, there was a lot of pew pew and not so much kill in this episode.
Not so much, nothing. Well, I've played those video games where you're trying to do the 0G, Gatling gun kind of, what do they call it? Back gunner, and what do they call it? What's the word she used?
Tail gunner.
Yeah, you're trying to do that sort of, free form shooting. It can be done. I mean, if I can do it on PlayStation 4, I don't see why Sabine can't do it in real life or pseudo real life. Yeah. Anyway, lots of pew pew. I mean, I think the best pew pew was the best pew pew, I think, right?
Yeah, I liked I had the little bit of hide and seek part where their ship was damaged and they were trying to like hide amongst the purgles, the giant space whales.
Yeah,
I like that. I just thought that was really cool and cinematic. It was a little less sort of shooty.
There's always a bigger fish. You noticed that, right?
It's true. There's always a bigger whale. Yeah, but I thought to myself for a second, I'm like, oh, it would be very Star Wars if they went and hid inside one of the whale's mouths. But
I thought when they got disabled, they were kind of glued themselves to the side of the hyper ring until they dumped the garbage out.
Exactly. But no, they actually got their got to the forest floor for that case. So yeah.
This is the thing. So they get shot, they're damaged, they're like disabled. Y-Way is like completely disabled. The ship's dead. It's floating in space, and they can't just turn a turret around and shoot them.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I mean, pew pew.
Yeah, the space battle for me, because it had sort of the most obvious one. I didn't see metaphorical pew pew pews here. Maybe I missed some.
Well, I mean, even the Ahsoka versus Sabine sort of sword stuff that you referenced.
That was fun.
That was
the wax on, wax off.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We talk about that in a few minutes, but just the idea of training someone very much in the style of episode 4, who is not as force sensitive or the child of a messiah is interesting. It's interesting.
My best pew pew was Sabine versus the Cup. That was some high tension.
Yes.
Especially with the Cup stares her down too, right?
Well, yeah, I had that in my they said what the quotes. You win this round, Sabine, to the Cup. Yeah. Easter eggs. There was not as much as the first 2 episodes, but there was still lots of stuff to enjoy in there. So the blind sword fighting, of course, very much an echo of Obi-Wan training Luke in episode 4. With the blast shield down, how am I supposed to see a thing? How am I supposed to fight?
Track through the same line. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and the line from her was, I can't see how am I supposed to fight, from Sabine, right? So yeah, like great stuff. The training drones. So when she opens the cupboard, there are those training drones, just like Luke would have fought back then. Why Han had one of those, unless like Obi-Wan brought that with him? Like, I don't know. That's kind of a strange one. And of all the things, like he's living like out in the desert in the middle of nowhere, he decides to keep like a training drone. That's a weird one. Jason finally showed up. Everyone was asking after the first 2 episodes, where the hell is Jason? Because we knew that Hera had a son as a result of the events of Rebels, and the first question was like, she's off having all these adventures. Doesn't she have a child? Like, shouldn't we at least get a reference? And it was very peculiar that there was no line between Sabine and her, or Ahsoka and her, saying, how's your child, who we all know you have? Nothing. So there's no reference. But in this case, we get to see Mon Mothma and the members of the Republic Senate, and she asks, how's Jason? And then finally Jason shows up. So we actually get to see live action Jason, Jacen for those keeping track. And
he says,
I want to be a Jedi.
I was a Jedi.
I want to be a Jedi, yeah.
But isn't he half Jedi? Isn't he like half Jedi?
Well, yes, he certainly is. And you could argue, I mean, Hera is an uncannily gifted pilot. Perhaps she's strong in the Force as well. We don't know either way, but yeah.
But the green hair, though.
Well, I mean, again, it's interesting because obviously he is by species. He's part Twi'lek, and he's part what appears to be obviously human, whatever, wherever.
Humanoid, yes.
Yeah. But it's interesting that, he's got green hair, which I guess is a reflection of her skin color, but otherwise appears to be pretty humanoid. In the cartoon, when we only see him in the final episode of Rebels, he seems to have elongated ears that seem to indicate that maybe he's, that's sort of what he's adapted genetically instead of the tails off of the back of the skull. But here, we don't even really see his ears. He's got hair covering his ears. But yeah, it's... he looks pretty human. All things being equal. Not so much Twi'lek. Mm-hmm. The other thing for Easter eggs is the Purgles, of course, which we knew we were going to see. I saw some stuff after we recorded last week that people were saying, well, and the one scene when they're on the planet that you can see the shadow of something that might be a Purgle. I haven't gone back to look at that, but obviously we knew that the Rebels ended with Thrawn and Ezra being tangled up with the Purgles. The Purgles have the ability to travel organically through space, and they disappeared to a galaxy even further away. And so we knew Purgles were probably going to play a role in here somewhere. And so now we know we're on this planet where the Purgles are, and they're building this giant hyperspace ring. The idea being that they're going to try and go to this galaxy further away and try and retrieve Thrawn, and hopefully in the process retrieve Ezra. So it's kind of all coming together. And I like that they didn't really need to beat you over the head for the people who weren't Rebels fans. They basically say Purgles, the space whales. They have Huyang explain that Purgles, they're space whales who can travel in hyperspace. Like, cool, that's all I needed to know. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they didn't have to beat Hera over the head about her obsession with looking for Ezra, because I didn't get the sense she's obsessed with searching for Ezra. Maybe Sabine is, right?
Yeah, although this is supposed to have happened over the course of time, right? So if you... Yeah. Like, the events of this series are supposed to happen... So Rebels basically wraps up before the events of Star Wars Episode 4. It's before Rogue One, as a matter of fact. So, basically... It ends, a few months before the events of Rogue One. And then the PS Rebels? Scene, yes. And the PS scene after that is what we're seeing now. So it's supposed to be time enough for Jason to be born. And then... We
need to rewind. Hang on. Whoa.
All right.
Whoa. Okay, so we have Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Right, who was trained by Anakin. Okay, trained by Anakin. Okay, so she's from... end of Clone Wars or whatever that horrible thing was, right?
Yeah, so she survives the Clone Wars, and then she joins back up with the Rebels in Rebels, and is Fulcrum.
Oh, right. So they get rid of all the Jedi, which is why Obi-Wan Kenobi is hiding in the beginning of Episode 4.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm caught up now. Okay, cool.
So the reason why we know that this is happening, this is supposed to be happening at the same time as Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian. But the idea is basically that all of this is happening for the sake of argument. If you look at Jason and how old Jason is, we'll say he's what, 9? 8? 9? So he was supposed to have been born pretty much, after the Battle of Yavin, because Hera was pregnant before then. So somewhere in that window she has Jason, and he's the age he is now, so that's how much further we are ahead.
You do see Jason, don't you see Jason in the end of...
You do, and he actually looks a little younger in the
toddler, right? Yeah.
Well, maybe a little older, maybe like 5, but here he looks even older. Yeah. So I think the idea is that we're supposed to be 7 or 8 years after the fall of the Empire in Return of the Jedi. So, or I guess not after that, after the Battle of Yavin. So theoretically, this is, 5 years after that. So it's been a while. All that to say, the reason why they make that reference is that perhaps during that window of time where the events of Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi were happening, Hera was like, hey, we need to go find Ezra. And bugging people and trying to go on missions and whatever. And they were like, okay, enough. Stop looking for this dead guy.
But that would be kind of irresponsible since she's a general, right? So
yeah, I mean, yeah.
The Rebels crew was pretty much a save everyone sort of thing. So we haven't seen Zeb yet.
Yep.
The other crew member. So I didn't read that, at least not yet from what we've seen so far, that Hera was necessarily obsessed with it. I wrote down a quote from Hera to the senator where I think the senator was, causing some kerfuffle to
he's
not
trying
use
to throw a red herring out. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you're just obsessed with finding Ezra, and she's like, were you ever in the war, Senator? No, well, just sat back and waited to see who came out on top. Like she dumped all over him, but you can see sort of both sides. Like, we know the characters, but if you look, if you were just another person standing in that room, you'd be like, what the hell's going on between these two? Like, it's totally reasonable to ask, like, are you sure that we need to go do this thing? Is this just a wild goose chase, or do we need to go fight off these Imperial remnants with our handful of crew and ships and stuff that we have? Yeah. And then from our side, we're like, hey, we got to go figure this thing out. If we can coincidentally find Ezra, great. Otherwise, let's see if we can figure out, how to prevent Thrawn from coming back.
Any other Easter eggs from you guys?
Not many Easter eggs in this one, really. The wax on, wax off scene, but
it's really close. It's not. I looked it up. It's not an exact quote, but Sabine's "I can't see. How am I supposed to fight?" I think is probably really clearly. It's not literally the same thing. I did double check. Thank you, YouTube. You made it super easy. It's not exactly what Luke says word for word, but it's like so close. I'm like, this was a callback to that. Just to all called out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we I think we both, all three of us, sort of saw that as a, how am I supposed to fight with the blast shield? How am I supposed to see with the blast shield down?
Yeah, but way less whiny.
But she's like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Right away, she just
different
calls
attitude,
it right away.
Different attitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I did put down the quote around this same topic that Sabine says, according to Huyang, I'm the worst candidate ever for Jedi. And I think people are starting to wonder, right? Because I'll just lead into my big question, which is, will Sabine learn to harness the Force? And there's a bit of back and forth in the interwebs, the old school historical way of looking at this from the original trilogy was, everybody can be influenced by the Force. The Force is, something that permeates everything. And if you just try hard enough, go for it, yes, it can be stronger in families. The prequels went down the route even stronger on the, it's midichlorians. If you just take a numerical count, that'll help you out to understand. I feel somewhere in between is kind of the way these things work in real life. I do think that everybody can, with minimum capability, can learn to draw. Some will struggle to be even vaguely competent at it, and they'll work really hard to be vaguely competent, and some won't even have to try at all and be super good at it. I just pick a bunch of other things, some people are just exceptionally gifted at building muscle, and if they even look at a set of weights, they build muscle. And other people can be gym rats doing everything perfectly right and not build muscle. I think there's a lot of these natural things luck of the draw, genetics, will of the Force, whatever it is, will absolutely give you an advantage, but you can still work your way up from wherever it is you started. I think that's what this series is probably going to go with, given the hint from Ahsoka saying that, the Force is everywhere and permeates all living things. I think that's what they're trying to reconcile it, to get a nice medium between the two different approaches.
Yeah, it depends whether you're in the Rian Johnson camp or the J.J. Abrams camp, right? Obviously, the one movie they were, episode 8, they were referencing the fact that anybody can be part of the Force. The idea that Rey and Broom Boy, that the Force is in every living thing, and therefore anybody's got the potential. And then they rewrote that for episode 9, saying no, but only if you're a Palpatine. So yeah, it kind of depends which camp you're more comfortable in for this as to your interpretation. But I think that there's definitely some differences in opinion on the interwebs right now. I listened to a great podcast. If you want an incredibly deep dive, the folks at House of R on the Ringer podcast network this week did like a 3-hour deep dive into the first 2 episodes, which was both insane and also like filled with information. And they were playing some like word clips and stuff like that from Rebels. And one of the things that they referenced that really has stuck with me, that did not occur to me in the moment, so that's why I want to make sure they get credit, is there's an exchange when Kanan is training Sabine on how to use the Darksaber in season 4 of Rebels, where he says, Hera basically says, are you frustrated with training her because she's no good with the Force? And he says, it's not that she's not good with the Force. The Force lives in all things. Her problem is that she's so blocked off. She can't unblock herself from receiving the Force. She's just not opening herself up to it. And there was kind of that same reference in this episode of Ahsoka saying, like, it's not that she's weak in the Force, it's that she seems to be in her own way about it. So I wonder if we're priming this for, she will finally have, maybe if they get to Ezra, or maybe there's a moment that will just sort of open her mind and we will see a Force sensitive Sabine show up. But I thought that was a really interesting possibility, that it's not that she's not as Force sensitive. It's as Hu Yang says, maybe she is currently the weakest, but maybe it's that she's blocking herself, not that she's just weak in it.
I mean, you're the writer. I can see that coming. I can see that coming. I can see a Force push or something coming from her, like episode 5 or maybe 6.
Yeah, it really just depends on what the what the trigger is, right? Like what's going to be the thing that gets her over the top. But I like that idea. I like the idea that it's not that she's not capable. It's that she's basically standing in her own way. And in the way that they're positioning that Sabine character, and she's, even through the cartoon, she's very stubborn, she's very willful, very strong person. But, maybe she'll have that aha moment in this series. I hope they do, because that'd be fun to watch how that plays out. So
Anakin and Obi-Wan in the 6th movie or whatever, 3rd movie, I lost track. Attack of the Clones, that Count Dooku one, where they were going after Count Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
They're in their spaceships. They're not wearing a spacesuit. And yet, in this episode, when, Ahsoka says, I'll be right back, I thought she'd just go out and hold her breath and fight these guys, but apparently there's a spacesuit for her. Is she a Twi'lek, or she's a different race?
No, she's a different race.
Yeah, but the spacesuit.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what the root of that is, but yeah.
I mean, it is kick-ass that she went out there and was like, I thought like most Jedi, she'd be bouncing the shots back at them with her lightsabers, right?
I had the same thought. It's funny, we're so used to seeing that, and maybe it's the physics of space that is not allowing that. Although it's weird, because theoretically the pulses that they're firing are hard light enough to do damage, so they would also have enough gravitational force to push her. So is she using the Force to stay on that? Anyway, it's a head scratcher. It's a thinker when you step back from it.
It's a Newtonian problem, right?
It really is. It really is. So yeah, I saw that one, was like, I'm not going to think too hard about this because I'm probably overthinking it. But I'm,
But it's a good thing she got the magnetic boots on, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That was kind of my assumption, lightly magnetic. So, the way that I think about this is the small fighters probably don't have, suits necessarily. Like you can wear a pilot's flight suit and stuff.
So you're like a kamikaze.
Well, I think it's like you have to make,
Trooper.
trade-offs for like I want higher performance versus having extra stuff. But
the ship about the guy inside, right?
Yeah, but like the ship that Ahsoka's on is like large enough to have a crew area and stuff. So you can have a little tiny broom closet somewhere that you have suits like this for like, hey, hyperdrive's messed up and the droid can't do it alone. All right, let me schlep on my suit, walk out there with my mildly magnetic boots. Because if they were like really strong magnets, you wouldn't be able to lift up your feet, right? They have to be just enough to keep you attached and not floating off into the void. So that's how I kind of mentally thought about what this is doing here. Because it's similar-ish to other things we've seen in other sci-fi of like walking around in a little suit outside of the ship.
Yeah. My big question for this week is we are now 3 episodes out of 8 down. We've clearly set the stage for, we know how the game is being played now. We know that they're building this hyperspace ring. We've got the Purgle download. So we know what they're trying to do is go and to the other side of the galaxy and get Thrawn and Ezra. We know that Thrawn and Ezra are going to be in the series because you've seen them in the teaser trailers. So how soon do we get Thrawn and, by proxy, Ezra? Do we see them in the next episode? Is next episode just all fights with the, because it looks like they're going to have fight in the forest. We've seen that in the teaser as well. Are we going to actually get on a ship and go somewhere? Or do we not do that till episode 5? Like, does the series end with them finding him?
Oh, I don't know. I think you gotta have Thrawn. Because they're building him up to be the big bad, right? So you got to have him in at least 2 episodes, right? So he's got to be either discovered at the tail end of episode 3 or 4, I guess. But he's got to be in at least 2 episodes to really make him meaningful, especially since this is sort of. I mean, if you're catering to the people who are not familiar with him and who he is, right? So, because I mean, in Rebels he just walks around and talks menacingly, right? He doesn't really.
Well, in Rebels, he's a genius, right? He's strategic and methodical, and it's funny because he's obviously he is an accomplished martial artist, but he's not like the Emperor. He's not like he'll fire lightning out of his fingertips and barbecue you, and he's not Darth Vader where he's just going to overwhelm you with strength and the Force and the dark side, but he's just this like absolute tactician, right? He's a genius who can basically pick you to shreds, and we see that over and over again. That the one part of Rebels where they think they've got the Empire on the run, and it turns out it's the other way, and they basically wipe out a huge part of the Rebel fleet because he's just 2 steps ahead of them, right? So it'll be interesting to see how much of him we get. We know that this is just the beginning or just a phase of the sort of Thrawn story that they're telling, because we know that it's going to overlap into the next season of Mandalorian, maybe in Ahsoka season 2, God save us, a Book of Boba Fett season 2, or whatever they decide to do. In that, we know that the Skeleton Crew series that they've announced already is going to be set in this same timeline, the one with Jude Law. So, maybe that's tied in here as well. So you need to introduce Thrawn, and you need to have him set up as the big bad, and you need him back in the regular galaxy far, far away, not farther, farther away, so that you can tell those stories. But yeah, I guess I'm curious as to how soon we're going to get them actually there to get it done, and then from there, how they set up what's going to happen over the next few years in the Star Wars television universe.
Good show.
Yeah.
The holidays start here at Baker's with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. You could do a classic herb-roasted turkey or spice it up and make turkey tacos. Serve up a go-to shrimp cocktail or use Simple Truth wild-caught shrimp for your first Cajun risotto. Make creamy mac and cheese or a spinach artichoke fondue from our selection of Murray's cheese. No matter how you shop, Baker's has all the freshest ingredients to embrace all your holiday traditions. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
I think I want to ask Jaime the question that you and I talked about last week, which is, and it is a criticism I've certainly seen online. Jaime, you must have seen it too. Is this show too Star Wars lore deep to be accessible to a large audience? Is it too in the weeds for Star Wars fans? I mean, it's essentially Rebels season 5, right?
Yeah, I think there's a place to blend some of these in. I don't think that every show needs to be for all audiences. I think this one leans a little heavier towards, it probably is way better if you did like I did and just, binged your way through the past couple of months through all 4 seasons of Rebels. So I'm well deep into everything meaningful for this lore. I think if they wanted to make this more broadly accessible, the way that like The Mandalorian season 1 was in particular, I think they'd have to add like flashbacks or something to be like, show me what Thrawn did, why is this person worth the effort? I think it's carrying a lot of weight of like, well, you know who he is. Like, yeah, but if you don't, like my significant other, she doesn't know, so I don't think she would enjoy this series as much as The Mandalorian, because it doesn't give you a nice, easy way into the stuff. Like, I think you could probably sort of get it. I don't think they'd be completely lost, but it wouldn't have the same impact as what I think.
Yeah. I think it's a tricky balancing act, because they are kind of trying to tie this all into one sort of larger universe. Obviously, we've seen Ahsoka in Mandalorian, we've seen Ahsoka in Book of Boba Fett. We know that these 3 series are all interconnected. But The Mandalorian, I think what a lot of people liked about the first season, and then kind of got a little off the rails in season 3. Season 1 and 2 was kind of an open, if you weren't a huge Star Wars fan, you could still kind of watch it and follow along. And it was kind of telling its own story that was divorced from, the Force and the big picture and stuff, except for obviously, it's the whole get Grogu back to his people thing. This just expands the scope of everything so much that I wonder if it's just going to be scary for people who are like, it's hard. I mean, I'm watching it and I'm like, it's like a big bag full of candy. It's just like, oh my God, there's like so many sub-references, Easter eggs. If you've devoured all of Star Wars in television and film, there's a ton of stuff here for you, and you're probably enjoying yourself thoroughly. If you are not connected to it, I wonder if there's enough exposition for you to care. Like, honestly, my biggest fear is, and Tim, I think you referenced it in just the way you mentioned the way that Rosario Dawson is playing Ahsoka. She's playing it pretty staid and quiet, and she's not really giving you a lot to invest in. Sabine is, I think, Natasha Liu Bordizzo is doing a better job of making you care about that character, but the series is called Ahsoka. And I don't think that she's necessarily, if you were coming at this with just having sort of seen her pop up on those 2 previous appearances in the Star Wars TV universe, I don't know that you'd feel that investment and be like, this is a great character. You'd be like, she doesn't talk much, does she?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, I think we need to turn to our number 2 fan, Keen, because he hasn't seen all of, I don't know how much of Clone Wars he's seen, but he has not seen Rebels. And he did make a comment in our Slack. By the way, folks, you can always join our Slack and chat with us. But he mentioned in Slack that he was not going to stop and take a look at that stuff, and he's just going to dive right into Ahsoka and then see what he thinks of it. So it's kind of interesting. Like, I'm always curious about people who've gone and see, like, I think, Jaime, you've never read the Harry Potter books, right?
Correct. I've never read the original material.
Yeah, so like he's one of these, a purist from the point of view of he's only experienced Harry Potter through the movies, where Jonathan and I have all read the books long before the movies came out, right? So, or as they were coming out, I guess. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see a fresh perspective if there's just too much obscurity. Because I mean, like because we've watched Rebels, we have sort of the context of I mean, I don't think I can remember. I couldn't tell you exactly what happened in every episode, but I do have the references to who these people are, and like wouldn't have been able to tell you the Purgle was a Purgle until we saw it on the show today. But I do know about the space whales,
Yeah.
They were also in the episode with Harry Mudd, right?
Yeah,
that's a deep cut. Anyway, yeah. So with that, should we move on to our watch list?
Absolutely.
So you've got some sad news, it looks like, in our watch list.
Well, I guess it's all perspective. So the number one thing on the list, I think, for all of us is that a week from now we're going to get Star Trek Lower Decks. September 7th is the season 4 premiere. Again, very high, 1A, 1B, my favorite Star Trek current series. But as for us here with our spoiled Canadian subsidized sci-fi, that is now going away. So this will be the first season of Star Trek Lower Decks where you will not be able to watch it on Crave. It is airing on CTV Sci-Fi, on contemporary cable television, or you're going to have to shell out a couple shekels if you want to watch it on streaming. You can only watch it on Paramount Plus here in Canada starting.
So it is going to be on the television, like on the cable.
It is. I actually had intended to look up when it was going to drop. I wanted to look at my my cable package and see if they had listed it already to see if it's what time it's going to be on. Are you with the Bell
or the Rogers?
I am with the Rogers right now.
The Rogers only tells us like a week before.
That was the challenge. So I was kind of looking to see, let's see if they've got the new episode listed already here. I've got it right in front of me. No.
I think we have to go. We have to wait till tomorrow, right? Because it'll be the first tomorrow, 7 days away.
Oh, you know what? It's not. It's on there now. So season 4, episode 1, Tuvix, Twovix,
that's about
is appearing Thursday, 9 o'clock on CTV Sci-Fi. And so is episode 2.
Oh?
I have no bones, yet I must flee.
Does that mean we're reporting on Friday?
Yeah, so 9 o'clock to 9:35 on CTV Sci-Fi for the first one, and 9:35 till 10:10 on CTV Sci-Fi for episode 2 on the 7th. So you can watch it on TV. You don't have to have Plus, but if you are not somebody who has cable, or if you prefer to watch the streaming version that does not have commercials or anything else, then you obviously are going to have to shell out.
I guess it depends on the time of day when it's going to come out.
Well, it's 9 o'clock at night is when it starts.
No, I meant on the Crave, or elsewhere on the Paramount Plus.
That's the question. So I guess we'll throw that one over to Jaime. When does it drop? Does it drop at midnight Pacific time for you?
You know, I honestly can't recall, because every show seems like it does this differently. I'm trying to remember. I think Lower Decks must drop at like midnight, because I normally watch it during lunch for the past several seasons. And then or, if I have a really rough work day, then I'll try to hammer down my dinner at the same time I'm trying to watch Lower Decks and take notes and stuff. But maybe I'm just getting confused because the Ahsoka series comes out at primetime television kind of timing, that I'm mentally thinking, oh, maybe it drops at 9 p.m. the night before or something. But I'm pretty sure it is midnight. Midnight Pacific, so it's probably 3 a.m. your all's time for Paramount Plus.
Well, and I'm just looking ahead. It's got Thursday, September 14th, which would be the third episode, is listed on CTV Sci-Fi at 10:29 to 11:03 p.m. Eastern time, rather. So that would be even later than next week's episodes. So it's unusual. All that to say, we're excited about Lower Decks. We just have to figure out when and how we're going to watch it.
Yeah, and when and how everybody else is going to watch it or listen to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right.
No change in the USA. It's always been on Paramount Plus. So
except they've changed the name of that platform multiple times.
Yeah. Have they?
Yeah, well, it was CBS All Access, and then it was...
Oh, right.
And then it was Paramount Plus. And then I guess if you're counting Paramount Plus and then with Showtime...
yes. I think that's what they call it now, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't just call it Paramount Plus Showtime. Maybe they thought it looked weird when you write it out, but when you say it, it's Paramount Plus Showtime. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay.
But it's more than just Paramount. It's Paramount Plus.
It's all good, man. It's all good, man.
The other thing I had for my watch list is, I don't know if either of you had a chance to see the trailer for Rebel Moon, the new Zack Snyder film that is coming to Netflix later this year. This was Zack Snyder essentially wrote a Star Wars movie and was going to make a Star Wars movie, and then in the end they decided not to go forward with it, and he was like, you know what, I like my ideas, I'm just going to turn it into a not Star Wars movie. So if you watch it, you're like, this seems kind of familiar but kind of different. And it's a 2-part movie event. The first one is coming out in December, the second one's coming out I think in March next year. These 2 movies, it looks pretty intense. It looks very Star Warsian in that there's lots of space battles and iconography and all this kind of stuff. It looks very Zack Snyder. I'm worried it might be a lot more sizzle than steak, but undeniably his visual storytelling is really impressive. It looks really good. Whether it will be really good is a different matter, but I wanted to flag this one as well, that it's definitely worth having a look at the trailer and seeing what you think.
So that's going to come out in the theaters?
No, well, that's not true. It's a Netflix movie.
Oh, okay.
But Netflix has been known to put its movies into theaters as well for short runs.
Yeah, that Napoleon movie's coming out in the theaters, right?
Yeah.
The Ridley Scott one?
Mm-hmm.
That's a Netflix too, isn't it?
Ooh, good question.
I don't think that's Apple TV
It's one of the streaming services, but it's coming out in theaters first.
I think it's Apple TV Plus for the Napoleon one, if I recall.
Oh, yeah. And it has to come out in the theaters because if it wants to be an Oscar contender, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and
right,
again, there's extra money in
the Divius dive bar that has a projector that it can set up and leave open for like 2 weeks kind of thing.
For your consideration, yes.
Yeah. This one, for Rebel Moon, the trailer is interesting because I really hope that they're swinging for the fences on this one, because I think the worst thing that could happen to Rebel Moon is if it's like, kind of boring and middle. I want it to either be great or fantastically terrible. Like,
oh yeah,
just something you can enjoy. It's like, oh man, this thing is total nonsense, but I'm enjoying it.
Like was that John Travolta one?
Battlefield Earth and stuff like
Battlefield Earth. No, I was thinking Sucker Punch, right? Sucker Punch is one of those ones, brilliantly beautiful movie, but it's terrible. Just terrible.
Yeah, I want to be like talking about this movie one way or the other 10 years from now. I don't want to forget this one as like, oh, that's just like yet another, is it this or Paw Patrol 5 kind of decision when it comes to, Sunday afternoon doing laundry or dishes or something. Like, I want it to be we're talking about it hopefully in the positive, and it's like the new Star Wars for the Gen Zers, or it's so awful but like entertainingly so that we're like, oh man, I can't believe this new trailer came out. Is this the new Rebel Moon reference? That's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us, Jaime?
I have an unorthodox one, and I have to think really carefully about how to talk about this. We're not exactly a family-friendly show, but we're not, rated R in any regular sort of way. And this one is weirdly sort of crosses over into more than just code land, surprisingly. The Ashley Madison affair, which in the States is on Hulu. It's 3 episodes. I don't know if this is a Disney Plus thing for you all. It'd be kind of amusing if it was.
There's an app for that. I'm looking it up.
This is about the Ashley Madison website, which was a place for married people to go find other married people who were interested in, kissy kiss stuff without their partners involved. That's kind of the basic gist. And if you recall from the news, Ashley Madison got hacked really bad, and like all of this stuff came out about the individual users and stuff. So this has like just all of these like sort of banger things that I didn't really realize, that like Brian Krebs from Krebs on Security is in here talking about the security aspects. Troy Hunt from Have I Been Owned or Pwned, if you prefer. I learned that the Ashley Madison headquarters was in Toronto, of all places.
Yep.
Which made me think, what's up with Canada? Because MindGeek, now ILO, is in Montreal. So if you're familiar with the hub and not GitHub, I don't know what to say other than today's sponsor is Bob's House of Pelts. It's your finest quality pelts.
Hudson Bay Company, yeah.
It is on Disney Plus here. I just looked it up.
There you go, right next to the Mickey Mouse cartoons.
Yeah, I did recall that Ashley Madison had a Toronto office because I used to see it advertised all the time for when I was job hunting. Yeah. I didn't know it was for married folks, though. I didn't know that was the hookup, but I knew it was a hookup thing.
Yeah, it's, just like there's an app for every niche. This is the one for married folks that were looking to have an affair.
Yeah, this was a site before mobiles and stuff like that came along. This is the website thingy.
Yeah. I think in the show, I guess it's like a look back documentary kind of series. It's not like a fictionalized thing. It's documentary style. I should have stated that. It seemed like it was the era of like Match.com, Chemistry.com sort of stuff.
Yeah, and one of the Canadian Dragon Den people, which became Shark Tank in the States, is Love a Life or something like that was one of his. That's how he got his millions. So I was laid over in San Francisco. I went down to Apple to play with the Vision Pro, which is effing amazing. Maybe I should talk about that too. But I had a few hours to kill, and I went to see what was playing in the movie theaters. And I went to the art gallery, and if I had time, I was going to go check out a movie. I went to see what was playing in IMAX at the Metreon in center of downtown San Francisco. And of course, it was Oppenheimer, which I'd seen already 2 times. So I thought I don't need to see that again. And so Blue Beetle was playing. So I thought, okay, well, for the sake of the podcast, I will, throw in my $18 US and go watch Blue Beetle. And interesting movie. I don't know if you guys had any desired. I don't think any of us have any desire to see it in theater, or we're going to make a special trip to do it because Jonathan and I usually talk about that stuff, well in advance. My hot take is it's RoboCop meets Iron Man 2. Is 2 the one where he has to fight against the bad guy? Yeah,
I mean, it was kind of he fights the bad guy on each of them, I think.
Well, I mean the Nick Nolte character. But yeah, it was super derivative. It had a Marvel spin to it. The uncle Luis Guzman was super funny. There's a lot of humor in it. The problem was for me is there was a lot of Hispanic references, like there was Hispanic jokes about Hispanic soap operas and Hispanic children's programming because some of the audience members were just killing themselves, right, laughing, and I had no context, right? So that was one of my problems with some of the inside jokes. They were just way too inside, But I guess that's the nature of the beast, right? But yeah, I don't think it was. I mean, I haven't read the Blue Beetle book. I know you've read them, Jonathan, but I don't know if it was where it stands in the Marvel world. But so what's currently the worst Marvel movie out there?
Well, this is a DC movie, to be fair, and
DC, okay, yeah.
So the bar there is I think lower, but
definitely lower.
It's a DC movie, and I mean the Jaime Reyes character in comic books is actually a really good one, and a nice sort of more modern version of that character that's actually really enjoyable and well told, but. Yeah,
I mean, there was nothing wrong with the characters themselves, right? The young man Jaime Reyes was cool. His sister was cool. The parents were funny. The grandmother was hilarious, right? Because she has a secret ability that you find out in the movie. Don't want to spoil it for people who are going to go see it, but and the uncle Luis, played by Luis Guzman, is super funny. There's lots of like references I do get about that sort of culture, like in terms of like California culture and that kind of stuff. Actually, I don't think it takes place in California, but I think it's Mexico actually. But it was just, I mean, and the Susan Sarandon character, I'm not sure. She was a bit much, right? But yeah, it was too. I mean, so what's the worst DC movie out there? Oof. What do you guys say?
Tough call.
I mean, like I'm talking like recent movies, like since the Superman stuff, not going back to like the 80s or whatever. Let's not go there, or 90s.
I think the Rotten Tomatoes is pretty low in Shazam too, but I got to double check that.
Shazam, I like that one.
The
I like
Whedon
Shazam
version of Justice League was pretty darn bad. That would be. Yeah. I would say the two worst, in my opinion, were that, and I thought Wonder Woman in 1984 was pretty damn bad too.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, if I had to compare this to the Whedon Justice League or Wonder Woman, I would put this lower.
Oof, harsh.
Yeah. I mean, but it is pretty to look at and that kind of stuff. But yeah, the story's there's nothing original about the story. There's nothing that stood out with me and went, man, that was a good movie. You know, like our old scale was Jonathan and I would see something and we would look at each other and go, it's a rental.
It's a rental, yeah. That was my sort of vibe about it. And it gets disappointing because, I mean, we talked about it in the context of Shang-Chi or Black Panther, where they're clearly trying to elevate a segment of society that, you know, doesn't necessarily get its time in the spotlight as much as it should. And so it's disappointing that that's the conclusion already, is that it's not. It did win the box office. Everyone was like, oh, it dethroned Barbie. I'm like, it dethroned Barbie on its like 6th week in the theaters, and it dethroned it by like $1 million, and it only made like $25 million. So it was not a great showing, which is extremely frustrating because, again, when these movies flop, it's just another, you know, old white studio head's excuse to be like, we don't want to make any more movies with, you know, Latinx stars because they don't sell. Like, that's bullcrap. It's just that this one didn't work out because maybe it wasn't the best opportunity. But I hate the idea that they may not take more chances based on something like this. But that seems to be what happens.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, and you know, I'm not to say that if you're into that kind of stuff, go see it. But yeah, I just personally, for me, I found it was, you know, the Mario movie was better. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the movies I've seen recently. So
yeah.
So they wait for it to come out on a streaming service of some type. My recommendation.
Max, I would guess, given that they own Warner, but I didn't double check to see that there isn't a weird like Spider-Man situation or anything like that.
Well, I guess that's it for another week. So if people want to get in touch with you, Jonathan, where would they find you?
You can find me on Twitter/X, and Instagram is @JPK News, or you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/@JPK.
All right. And if people get in touch with you, Jaime, where would they find you?
I'm on Twitter as @DevaTheHair.
All right. My name is Dimitra, TIMMITRA, on the Twitter machine, the Mastodon machine, and all the other machines. So yeah, until next time, we'll see you in the future. Unless we get stuck in a time loop again. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Spotcast podcast. If you want to find out more about the podcast or see the episode show notes, visit the Spotcast website at spotcast.com. You can get in touch with us on the website or follow us on Twitter at Spotcast. If you have feedback or questions, send us a tweet with the hashtag AskSpotcast. If you like the show, please consider recommending us to a friend, writing a review on iTunes, or pledging any amount at patreon.com/Spotcast. You can find details on how to help us on our website, spotcast.com/sponsor us. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the future.
Just popped up on Crave here in Canada this last week.
Yeah, they just came out this week on Max, maybe within the last day or so, I think.
Yeah.
So it's another one of those things for me to watch.
I've seen a ton of stuff just absolutely ripping shreds out of that film. I actually enjoyed that one. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't genius, but it was certainly entertaining. Well, and then there's only one last reboot coming DC EU movie, and that's Aquaman, that's coming in December. Someone pointed out online that I thought was very telling, that we are now essentially in September, and there is still not even a teaser trailer for that, which does not bode well.
Aquaman?
The new Aquaman, what's it called? Aquaman and the Lost City or something?
Aquaman, who can remember? Yeah.
I'm surprised that one hasn't gotten pushed out. Like, are they gonna take a loss on this one?
I think they want to just flush it, basically. I think they want that to come out, do what it does, and then they want to they're taking, I think it's a year and a half long break. They're not putting out any DC movies in 2024 at all, not one. And they're coming back in 2025 with the new reboot of Superman and starting the new James Gunn verse. So I think they kind of want this one to come out at Christmas time. If it makes, $100-200 million, I think they'll be whatever it is. Although it's funny because, it was 5 years ago that the first Aquaman movie came out, and it was a surprise hit. Jason Momoa, it made $1 billion, billion dollars at the box office pre-pandemic. 5 years later, it is going to be the last movie of this era of DC filmmaking, and it's essentially being sort of shoved out the door with, as I say, it's coming out in 3 months, and it hasn't even got a teaser trailer yet, let alone any marketing or anything else. So it's funny how time changes things.
By the way, what else I should put on my watch list is Jurassic Park 3D. Have you guys heard about that one at all?
No.
That was the other option. I could have gone to see Jurassic Park 3D, but there was no seat. Although in the States at the AMCs, they have these really amazing recliners, so you can sit, and even though you're sitting next to somebody, they're feet away from you, right? But yeah, apparently it's the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park, and they've done a real 3D version of it, the technology real 3D. So they've kind of made everything pop out of the screen.
Wasn't there a ride at Canada's Wonderland that was like Jurassic World 3D?
Was there?
I swear I did that at one point 25 years ago, whatever, more than that. Yeah, 25 years ago. I swear there was a ride that you could go on at Canada's Wonderland, which is, Jaime, if you don't know, is a huge amusement park up here. It's sort of our biggest national
Paramount Canada's Wonderland, yeah.
I don't know if is it still, I don't know if they still have their share in it, but
probably not.
But yeah, it was they had basically an auditorium that you could go into and put on the 3D glasses, and the dinosaurs would jump at you and stuff. It was pretty good.
There's also a Korean movie called The Moon apparently right now.
Did learn this week of this town called or a town located in Pickering, which apparently is just east of Tirana.
No, we know it.
Yeah. For those who don't know, I did not know, this is the Paramount backlot, but an entire little town that you can just, I don't know, pull up the trailers and whip out the cameras and immediately start shooting to an extreme, it sounds like. That's interesting to see that. It made its way on TikTok.
There's a lot of the small towns that are not far from Toronto that have been used and reused and reused as sort of, summertime, especially the production that just happens there over and over again. They shot the It movies, and they're now doing It TV show, and all that stuff is all being shot just east of Toronto. And the downtown basically looks like an older U.S. city with all the signage and stuff like that. So you're driving through these little towns going what's happening here? But they've basically taken over some of these little towns and used them as their main streets for these movies. And it's interesting that there's so much film production happening up here, and not just in big studios, but places like that.
Yeah, sometimes you see, I'll be driving downtown and they'll have smoke coming out of the sewers because they're doing New York.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll see a bunch of New York cop cars parking on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're a hub.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Paramount Plus is a 1 week free trial that you can try out too.
1 week? What can you watch what can you binge in a week?
Well, yeah, I guess that's the question. Is how do you make that worthwhile to give it a test? I mean, Jaime, obviously that's how you've been enjoying all this content for Star Wars, but it's kind of strange, the idea of not being able to stream Star Trek after having it on a service that we were already paying for. I was talking with Xavier earlier, and he sort of said, so are you going to get another service on top of the other services that you already have? I was like, yeah, I don't love the idea of that, but I don't know. We'll have to think about that as far as timing too, because otherwise we might have to switch to Fridays, or we might have to record even later if we want to start just using the cable to do that, which is kind of a drag.
Yeah, $10 a month, eh?
Yeah. And are they as militant on password crackdowns as some of their competitors?
I don't think I've seen them in the news about that. The funny sort of news about the Netflix thing that I saw recently was despite password crackdown, Netflix has rise in subscribers. And I feel like saying, isn't it because of the crackdown?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you got the correlation and causation incorrect there. I mean, you may not have expected that to happen, and we certainly talked about this show of is this the last straw? Are people going to flip the table and leave? And the answer is no. Doesn't mean people didn't in maybe even large amounts, but more people said, yeah, okay, it's time to get off of my roommate's ex-spouse's neighbors, whoever it is that you found this Netflix username and password that fell off a truck. Now you've got your own.
Yeah, because Special Ops, I can watch Special Ops on my Apple TV now, I think, right? Yeah, it's kind of weird how stories are like the Tulsa and Tulsa King we haven't watched yet, but Yellowstone we can watch on Netflix, I think, right, Jonathan?
I could not tell you.
Yellowstone is on Netflix? Interesting.
Yeah, one of them's on something.
Do you mean plain vanilla Yellowstone, or do you mean some of the spin-offs?
I thought 1923 was on. Let's have a look.
I feel like the spin-offs were on Paramount Plus, and then Paramount Network, the other weird thing, and maybe Peacock or something. I don't know. The rights are really weird for that in the States, at least.
Oh, Yellowstone's on Apple TV. Oh, you have to buy it. Yeah, no, it's on Prime, sorry.
Really hoping that Star Trek Day, if anything, should have info about where the heck is Prodigy Season 2 going to be. What am I going to be watching? Crackle? I'm going to flip on, that. And if I finish watching Season 4 of Westworld, that I think might be on that show, on that streaming service, and I get to watch that too, where the heck is it?
I saw an article this week that said that they're still hopeful that Season 2, given that it's complete, will find another home. The showrunner for it was saying that they were still hopeful. But yeah, I wonder if we'll get any of that short term, or if that's still down the road.
Well, I could have watched Scream 4 on the plane. I should have done that.
No, what you should have watched is Snakes on a Plane on the plane.
Yeah. What's it called? Scream 4.
Well,
Scream 6. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say they did the reboot, and then Scream 6 I think is the latest one.
Yeah, that's on quite a few things here. Apple TV for $9, Cineplex for $4. You can rent it. Yeah, I don't know. Makes it hard to podcast about stuff we can't watch, right?
It does become challenging. Yeah.
Welcome to the Not Star podcast.
I wanted to tell you guys, I went to Fan Expo last weekend. And took the kids, and one of the booths that was there was basically promoting Canadian podcasts. They had all kinds of swag and stuff, and they were basically sponsored by the Canadian Podcast Awards and stuff like that. I was wearing my Spotcast shirt, as was my son. We were repping, and Yeah, so I talked to them and they were like, "Oh, you should like all get all your hosts to register. You can vote and vote for yourself for the awards." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll look into that." And then they had merch on the table that was like from all kinds of different podcasts. They're like, "Do you have any merch? Do you have stuff?" And I was like, "Well, actually, in my bag, I've got pins and stickers." So I put out some pins and stickers for some promotion, and then I also I did a little guerrilla marketing. I may have peeled off a couple of our shiny Spotcast stickers and attached them to different areas of Fan Expo to just do a little what's that shiny thing on the wall? But I'm sure they won't last long, but I thought that and try and get our name out there a little bit while I was doing my thing last week.
There's a couple of more than just code stickers in Hawaii, and I think there's some in Chicago.
Yeah.
I think there's some Spotcasts somewhere.
Yeah. All that to say, I'm now out of Spotcast stickers, so if you have any more, let me know.
Yeah, I got some.
And I did have a couple of requests for shirts. Xavier would like to replace his blue one.
You can buy them online at our Teespring store.
Is it? Okay, well, maybe throw that up on the Slack so that it's up there. We can have it in there because, he was asking about that. And then Foster said, oh, it's too bad you don't have a Spotcast shirt. I said, if we had one made for you, would you wear it? And we agreed that she might wear it if it was pink. So I said, I'm sure we could come up with a rainbow of colors. I have a black and white one. Xavier's got a green one.
I can go in and choose the color that you can have, but I never thought about pink.
But you want to rep a lot of different people,
Yeah. Well, I have the one with the 3D logo on it, but I haven't done the black, the white, the green one that I made for Xavier. I made that one special. I had a one-off made.
Yeah, and I have the you made one for me too. That's same, but it's white on black. So it's a black T-shirt with the white lettering. In the same style as his, but one of the dogs nipped the collar of his Spotcast shirt a while back. That's how we can tell mine from his. Is his got a little piece missing out of it? But also, I wear mine, periodically. He wears his habitually, so it's starting to crack. It's starting to fade, and so he's like, I feel like if I'm gonna rep you guys, I want to look good. I'm like, all right, well, see what we can do.
Yeah.
I mean, that just makes it look like it came from a vintage shop, right?
Oh, that's what it looks like now. It looks like it's, faded and it's got a little bit of a tear in the collar. And I'm like, yeah, it's old school. Kicking it old school.
Yeah, I'll paste the link in the... Nobody's bought our NFT, though. That's the thing I'm really upset about.
Are NFTs still a thing? Is that still a thing?
It's $64. You can have a Start Podcast NFT.
It's because we missed out, Tim. The new thing when it comes to that is, and when I say new, as if it just came out, I'm sure this has been out for a while. But I saw this series of NFTs called Pudgy Penguins. So you would think, oh, okay, it's just cute penguins, but they actually have real world merchandise. You can go to their website. You can even get something that's on Amazon. And besides the digital asset, you also can connect to a little RFID chip in the belly of the penguin and show ownership. So at the very least, you still have something physical that you could, put on your shelf or have the kids play with or something. The still basics of the way that the tokenization works means that you can hypothetically have authenticity, like, hey, this is the Pudgy Penguin that Jimmy Fallon had, and you can prove it. It's not just take my word for it on this nicely printed out certificate of authenticity.
But yeah, if you go, I just had the navy blue Spotcast, but I can get some variations made up or designed up.
Variation in color will you never know.
Well, I mean, so would it be like a black key line on pink and a white key line on green and whatever? Like yours is black with white key line?
Yeah, the one the first one you made before you made the blue one, the first one you made for Xavier and I, so I think it was for Christmas, you made his is white on green and mine is white on black.
Yeah. I got them downtown on Yonge Street. That place is gone now, though.
Yep.
There's a place in Queen you can get them done, though. Anyway, the link is on the Slack. But I'll set up a variation for you guys for reprints.
Special editions?
Yeah, I think I did. Well, yeah, yours were one of a kind, right?
That's right.
The other option is Carol and I were talking about printing them here.
Yeah, I guess you guys could do screens, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could get like really progressive and do like the ladies cut T-shirts too. Yeah,
I do have some of those.
That's Sherry's number one complaint. We'll go to concerts all the time, and so few artists, even female artists, sell women's cut shirts. They just sell that same sort of boxy style T-shirt for a concert shirt, and she's always like, "What? Like, make it like fit for a woman."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they're unisex, right? Is what they say.
Well, they are, but they're not exactly flattering to the female form as they may be for a man's.
Depends on the man.
I suppose it does.
Yeah. Now you just give me more work to do.
Well, you got some time.
I do. Time. Yeah, I got it right there. Cool. Yeah, I can make up a shirt. If
you are looking for something to do, Tim, I put I just finally updated my YouTube channel for the first time in like 6 weeks, and I put up all the Cure videos that I made at the Cure show, if you want to see any of those. Put up those and a couple other shows that I've been to more recently.
You still haven't gone in there and liked or made an affiliate link back to our podcast?
Sure I did.
Did you?
I did that ages ago.
Oh, okay.
Don't you got to check before you throw me under the bus there, man.
Don't be dissing me. You're saying, right?
You're in there.
Let's go check.
You're there.
Yeah, I had a couple of people subscribe the other day, which I thought was interesting.
To the YouTube?
Yeah, you did have that affiliated channel.
I certainly do.
Yeah, I see the City and the Color.
Yeah, City and Color we saw them last week, and then Maggie Rogers was from before that, and The Cure was before that. So I didn't realize I had made so many videos for The Cure. I think I made like 8 videos or something stupid like that. But it just again, like such a big fan, and it's like, who knows if I'll ever see them again? We'll make some videos.
But, yeah. Well, I can link these to my Spotcast playlist too.
There you go.
Or my live music playlist.
Yeah, I still have to go in and make some more playlists. I haven't done that.
I didn't get the encore because I ended up putting my camera down and I bumped the sidebar and my phone.
Oh,
and it stopped recording.
Yeah, that sucks. There was a bunch of good songs.
Yeah. I don't have Want. I have Lullaby. I don't have Fascination Street. Forest I do have. 6 Different Ways I don't have. The Walk I don't have. You got more than I don't have. And the Boys Don't Cry and Just Like Heaven. Those are the encores, right?
Yeah, I think the last 3 or 4 that are on there are the whole.
Yeah, the last one was Boys Don't Cry, and I put when I bumped my phone, when I put it down on the to make it steady, I ended up pushing the button and it stopped recording.
Oops.
And now I was doing that for the fans, make it like a steady.
There you go.
Whoops. Does your little camera thing automatically steady your hand?
Yes. Yeah, it's got a nice stabilizer in it. It's actually pretty good. I'm getting close to wanting to upgrade it because it's getting a little bit dated. And
you saw Sarah Slean?
I've seen Sarah before.
Oh, part of the Serenade thing.
She was part of Dream Serenade last year. She was great. She did. They did a tribute to Leonard Cohen, so she sang a Leonard Cohen song, and so did July Talk. Yeah. July Talk did a Leonard Cohen song too. That's like the best, honestly. Like that's the best concert deal in the city. Like for what you pay, the artists that show up, like it's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's crazy the number of good people they've had just because they don't tell you. They tell you some of they put the tickets for sale without telling you anybody that's coming. And then they announce.
Where did you see the Pixies?
When or where?
Where?
Phoenix.
Oh, the Phoenix. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't tell you who is going to be at the show when the tickets go on sale, and then they announce some of the people that are coming, but not everybody. And when you get there, they just start like bringing people out, and it's basically like the who's who of Toronto music. So like it's like, oh, the Bare Naked Ladies just showed up. Oh, Gort Downey just showed up. Oh, like it's crazy the number of people. Last year was Gowan. Larry Gowan just showed up and played a couple songs. The year before that was Tom Cochrane. Tom Cochrane just showed up and played a couple of his songs, and we're like, he played Life is a Highway and another one. I think I have a couple of those videos online, but they're like, it's just like, man, for like, whatever, $75 for a ticket, it's a steal.
Yeah.
And the money goes to charity, so it's even better.
Nice.
Education for kids with exceptionalities.
I'm at the very first one, 4 years ago. Johnny Marr.
Yeah, it's funny because I've got How Soon Is Now by Johnny Marr and How Soon Is Now by Morrissey on my feed in 2 different spots.
Oh, yeah.
So you can sort of see how they each approach it. And obviously Morrissey's sounds better it sounds like his voice is the right voice, whereas Johnny's singing his version, but the guitar is like, I was like 4 feet away from Johnny Marr playing How Soon Is Now, and you realize he's not doing that with effects pedals. He's playing that. You're like, oh, my brain.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a video of him doing that and during the pandemic. It was really good.
Yeah, he's underratedly an amazing guitar player.
Mm-hmm. Keys.
Oh, we're going to go see, we're seeing Eric Clapton in a few weeks, right?
No, I sold those tickets.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I need the money.
Oh, that's fine.
And I sold, I'm trying, the Peter Gabriel ones are up for sale, but nobody's bought them yet.
Okay. Yeah, I saw an ad the other day. It was like, Eric Clapton's coming. I'm like, I swear to God, you bought tickets for that. So
yeah, no, I had to curb expenses, as it were.
As it were, yeah. Okay.
Yep. We might be going to see Peter Gabriel. We might not. Depends on if they sell or not.
Yeah.
The Clapton ones went pretty quick. They were probably like sold within a week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and well, it's funny because Ticketmaster won't let me sell some tickets, but will let me sell other tickets.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So yeah, no, just as soon as I got the news, I'm like, oh, where can I'm gonna have to stop spending money and stuff.
Yeah.
For a while. Yep. Sorry about that.
No, it's what it is. No sweat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway. The young Xavier starts his college journey tomorrow. He's going for his orientation.
Where is he going to school?
Humber College here in scenic Mississauga. He's going to be going to Humber College for electrical engineering. Starting his classes start on Tuesday, and tomorrow's orientation. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, my father would be proud because that's what he wanted me to do.
Electrical engineering, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he knew computers were coming, right? So
yeah,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to do electrical engineering. That's what the future is.
Well, he wasn't wrong.
There's a new Toronto right next to
there is a new
College.
Toronto. Yes, Mimico. Yeah.
Not really new anymore.
Yeah, it was new when they built that neighborhood like 80 years ago.
My friend Eugene lives there in New Toronto.
I wouldn't mind living in New Toronto. It's gentrifying nicely. It was a little sketch at times, but there's a lot of good spots in there now. But it's bloody expensive.
No.
We eyed it up at one point when we were looking for places, but it's pretty prohibitively expensive.
Well, it's close to Pickering too, right? But not Pickering. Port Credit.
Yeah, it's basically it's the other side of that as you get to the far side of the 427. Yeah.
Long Branch, right? Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, between Long Branch and Mimico.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, we call it a night.
We'll call it a night. I'm going to go watch Rage Against the Machine.
Enjoy.
On your feed.
You'll what you don't get from that video is when they first came out and Xavier and I were right up near the front, and then the crowd started moshing and Xavier's eyes got really wide because he'd never been in a mosh pit before. I was just like, what's happening?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm just going to take you by the arm and we'll lead you off to the side here where you're not involved in this anymore.
Right.
Like, cool. Both of us got almost lifted off our feet. It was so intense. It was very nostalgic for me, but I think mildly terrifying for him.
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
All right. Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Until next time.
Bye.